somewhere deep inside of your heart, in your soul, is truth. And you got to stop being afraid of it, because it wants out. Every time you are experiencing something and this anxiety comes in, that's your brain saying, hold on, we need to experience this properly. So watch the story that you tell yourself as that happens, because your brain is trying to learn, not trying to be punished. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Hard Podcast. I am your man, Brian Gordon, and I am just here today on a mission. I am on a mission to share how I have gotten from a very dark place in my life where I had been severely addicted to all of the drugs, severely codependent on other people. I had about as much of the addiction trait as you can possibly imagine. Even though I believe that everybody is an addict, that's a different day for a different story. Today I want to talk about just the things that got me to where I am today, and how the language that we use to ourselves and to others, but right now I just want to talk about to ourselves, this negative self-talk, this I'm not good enough, this I'll never figure it out, this I'm just gonna have to settle because this is enough for me, while you go to bed at night and you're not genuinely happy. So bear with me, I'm trying something new today. This is I got a different camera setup, I get different angles, and using a boom mic now and trying to do a seated position. So just bear with me. We are working through it together. So the language that you tell yourself, because we all tell ourselves a story. We are storytellers at heart. Every conversation that you have with another person, when you interact with someone, is a story that you're telling when you really break down the analytics to the conversation. So when we experience things in our lives from childhood on, we typically would have the experience that would create your frontal cortex to fire off and say, okay, something's happening, pay attention. You then begin to tell yourself a story in that experience. If any of you can remember 9/11, for whatever the audience is, America or otherwise, as soon as that happened and that experience happened, you wrote a story in your head, a story so vivid and so clear that you can recall it today without even thinking. That is buried so deep in your unconscious or your subconscious that you don't have to think about it. You just tell the story. Well, we do the same things with past relationships, past jobs, home life experiences. We have taken things in and we have told ourselves a story, and the majority of the time we play victim. And there are new studies out there that have shown that more than 50% of the story that you told yourself is fabricated. It's exacerbated. It's increased. It's more than it should be, because you took the story and embellished it. That's the word I'm looking for. You've embellished this story to match the emotions that you wanted to feel, which was probably fear on the innermost level. So when fear happens and discomfort happens and anxiety happens and your heart rate elevates and you go into your fight or flight, your sympathetic nervous system is firing on all cylinders and you are in panic mode. So you tell yourself a story to wire something into your brain to be ready for the next time that it does happen. You don't know that it's going to happen, but in your mind in that moment, you were preparing for when that happens next. That's why this is dangerous. First of all, your perception of the experience is based on the place you were in your life, the emotional states that you were experiencing, and whatever the case may be. What is traumatic to you may not be traumatic to me. Some people see a car accident and it is the end of the world for them. Some people see it and try not to laugh. There's differences in people. So the story that you told yourself is based on the perception that you had. I have had similar perceptions, so I am not above and beyond by any stretch of the imagination. My parents, who knew each other for 18 days, got married, and really probably shouldn't have, and they know this. They just celebrated 50 years. But in my childhood, I had seen a lot of fights. My dad was a entrepreneur, and he was a workaholic, at times an alcoholic. He had a stretch. He was very living on the edge. My mom didn't come from that, so it was tough, but they were dedicated. That I found out today, but the story I told myself for so long was, I don't want mine to be like that. I don't want it to be experienced like that. I don't understand why marriage has to be so hard. I don't understand what they're fighting about. I don't get it, because I feel love from my mom and I feel love from my dad. I don't understand why they don't love each other. That was my story. So I just didn't believe that it could be that hard. And then I got into my first experience with my first love of my life, and she cheated on me. And it made no sense. I considered myself a good-looking dude. I was charismatic. I was always attentive to her. I thought I was doing everything right. So I told myself a story that superseded what I wanted from a relationship. That story that I was telling myself in that moment was, wow, I wonder if all women are like this. The relationship was tough. She cheated on me. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I told myself this traumatic event, and then I started to live in it. Then I move on with life and try a few other relationships. But the minute they were hard, the minute things didn't make sense, the minute it was against two different stories that I was telling myself, not understanding that I play a part in this. So I'm blaming someone, which is also part of my victim story. It's your fault, not mine. You cheated on me. You must be the bad person. Anytime it's not working out, it's not because of me, it's because of you. I was in this psycho-cybernetic loop of this thought pattern that just was, this is how life is going to be. But deep inside of me somewhere, I felt like I just shouldn't be alone for the rest of my life. There were moments when I thought that that's all I deserved, but deep to my core, the other story that I was still telling myself was that I can find that woman where a relationship isn't going to be that hard. And it took me 37 years to get back into, and it took me 37 years to get back into the moment of this is possible, but it's only going to happen if I work on me. I need to rewrite my story. I need to tell myself different things. I need to dive deep and be honest. So I look back at the first relationship. Did she cheat because she was a bad person? Maybe. What else is possible? Maybe she thought I was going to leave her. Maybe my over attentiveness in her world was I was feeling shame. Maybe she was scared. Maybe we just weren't meant to be together. Maybe, like, I can play all these other scenarios in my head that don't result in all women are bad and I did nothing wrong and everybody's going to cheat on me. So I go back and open up these possibilities, and as I started to open up the possibilities for other things to be possible, you can't believe everything you think. You really shouldn't. So what I'm encouraging you to do today is think about the things that you think about. What stories are you telling yourself? Can you dive deep and rewire the way that you're thinking today? The other shoe isn't always going to drop. Your job isn't always going to fail. People like you more than you believe. You can do more than you know. I'm positive of that one. What else can you do in telling yourself the story that you need to tell yourself in order to rewire the way you're moving today? I see so many people that settle for being good at 3 or 4 things because it makes them feel better about themselves because they can be there for that person. They can do this for that person. So they try to be good at many, many things, and they miss the opportunity to be great at the one thing. I understand that. I'm telling that story because it's true for me. I've learned how to build computers. I know how to work on cars. I know a lot about businesses. I have dove deep into relationships with therapy and other things to understand. And here I am doing all of these little things and thinking that I'm some good person, completely missing the opportunity that my greatness is humanity. I understand people. I'm an empath. There is no judgment here. You could tell me anything and I would think no differently of you. If you want to dive deep into a conversation with me, Chris, if you put my email down here, it's brian@gglifecoaching.com. We can do an introductory session and it's completely free. And if you want to move forward with a coaching program, we can go over pricing and discuss how it all works. It's always between me and you. My contract states that unless it's for legal purposes, we won't discuss any of the notes that we've had, but it is my honor to serve people. And so while I was trying to be good at so many things, I wasn't happy. I was trying to fill up my karma tank and waiting for the world to just give it back to me like that's how it works. And it's not, because there was still somewhere inside of me that didn't believe that I was ready for that to come back to me yet. That wasn't my purpose. That wasn't where I was supposed to be. So I stopped looking to the outside world to fix my inside problems, and I started to understand that it's time for me to give to the world and just understand that it'll come back. I don't have to ask for it, because when you're doing something for someone else, expecting something in return, then you're not doing it from your heart. I don't expect anything from anybody. I know what's coming my way. And it often doesn't come from the people that I have served. It comes from somewhere else, because that's how the universe works. I put out an energy force, and I've completely changed my thinking of bad relationships, drug problems, all of these things. I was believing the story that society was telling for me and that I understood from other people telling stories, not what was true for me. Once I broke free from that negative thinking and that stopping the urge of waiting for the outside world to validate me, once I started to validate me and rewrite the story and change the language in my head, I can't even explain to you the euphoria, the peace, the joy. I wake up, I put my feet on the ground, and I have so much purpose that it's virtually impossible to be sad. I have moments of sadness. I have moments of challenge. I have moments of frustration. I have moments. I don't get stuck in them. I don't live in them. I understand them. I honor them. I respect them. I process them. I move on to the next. Every situation is temporary. It is about the process. And when you know at your core, because you've rewritten your story, so I'm going to skip a little bit and say, my wife is the most amazing woman on the planet. We get along amazingly. I have what I like to call my life, and she has hers. She has her hobbies, I have mine. Sometimes we can't talk about like this kind of stuff, and that's fine because she has her own thing. And there are times when I can't talk about that with her, which is why she lives her life and does her thing. And when we come together, we're best friends. I can tell her anything, and it doesn't turn into a competition. We fight, but we fight for each other, not at each other. That's the approach I try to take with every conversation, because I understand that my conversation, the language that I use with others, is just as important. But inward reflection leads to outward perception. So as long as I'm telling myself the right story, then anything is possible. And so when I'm talking to someone else, it's so much easier to connect with them and get to their story, because I've already told myself the story and I'm fulfilled. I'm good. We can have this conversation, even when they're hard. It sucks, and I'll cry and I'll break down, and I just want to feel the emotions, and I'll process it, and we'll continue the conversation. But it is not time for the ego to come into play. You got to put your ego away if you want to rewrite your story. Stop thinking that you were right about everything, because there is a very good chance that you were wrong about a lot of things in your life. And that's okay. You should be happy about that. You should be happy that you get to go back and open up new possibilities for other things to exist. So I encourage you today to just go back, think about some experiences, and even though I know you believe that you were right, just open up the door to possibilities. Maybe you're having a difficulty processing some things. It could have been a car accident, and because it all happened so fast and you don't know what story to tell yourself, you made the worst one possible. Open up those doors. Just because you got one bad car accident doesn't mean it's going to happen again. The probabilities are actually very slim. So if it's a bad relationship that you're carrying into other relationships, that's okay. Just be honest with the person that you're dealing with. My wife and I, when we first sat down, I told her I have trust issues, and it's not that I want them. I don't have any new experiences with trust. So if you can let me be a fool sometimes and have a little trust issue and just let me be an idiot so that I can rewire this experience, then we will be good. And because I came at her with honest truth, she gave that to me because she knew I was telling her the truth. Because what grown-ass man in his right mind is trying to get in a relationship with a woman by saying, I don't trust you. I want to, but she could feel my honesty because I had already told myself my new story, that I was going to find that woman, that I was going to live that life, that my purpose is for people. And for me to be a good servant, she has made me the best version of myself because she just adds on to everything I am, which just allows me to grow in this amazing space. But it's all because of the stories. When we fight, we don't turn it into a story. Well, you remember that last time? So let's tell the story about the last time. The last time doesn't matter. We're not talking about last time. This experience might feel familiar, but it doesn't mean it's the same. Allow the opportunity for a new experience to exist. Tell a new story. Get curious about other possibilities. Dive deep into your thoughts and just get honest about being wrong and what else could be possible. And if that's possible, then what can you do next? Because now anything is possible. I just want you to break free from that limited thinking, that negative talk, that just bullshit self-doubt. I have broken out of every single box that society has tried to put me in. Don't tattoo your face, you won't be successful. Wrong. All drug addicts are worthless. Wrong. Drug addicts are actually some of the most intelligent people when you look at a lot of the data, because That's what we're trying to shut up, is this racing mind. And mine still races. It is so difficult for me to do these things and stay on topic because my brain is not using blinkers and going left and right and up and down, and it's insane. But I embrace it and I work on it every single day. I don't listen to the radio. I listen to podcasts on how to rewire my brain, how to be more productive. Ed Mylett, Dr. Huberman, Joe Dispenza. I mean, the list goes on and on of good neuroscientists and men that have information. And I'm not a doctor. Sure, I'm smart, but it's not that I don't understand these things. They're not using crazy terms that don't make sense. When you open up the reality to possibilities and you look into people like those three, you can understand that anything is possible. We are all living proof. If you go look at boxers and all these other people, they tell themselves a story about the entire boxing match, the whole fight, before it even happens. They sit there with their coach and they practice every single move. And what are we going to do? And this is what happens. And how do we pivot? The whole entire fight is in their mind. The story they've told is locked in before they even go in the ring. And you'll see fighter after fighter after fighter. They'll be like, yeah, I told you. Just watched it on Big Brother, the winner of Big Brother. When he stood up to give his speech, this all happened because I made it so. And he said it with such conviction. Go watch it. It's amazing to watch. It's amazing for people like me to watch it because I believe it and I know it's true because I'm doing this every day. Go rewrite your story. Find new things to focus on. Tell yourself a different story and just sit with it. It has to be your truth. And if you're going at this with, okay, I'm going to be rich tomorrow, then you're just an idiot. Stop watching this podcast. Go somewhere else, please, because it doesn't even make sense. Money is a byproduct of adding value to the world. That's how it works. So you add value to the place that you work, or you find a way to share your value. So I share this for free because I know what's coming. I'm not worried about it. So I'm just giving it away because I am full. I have gone from the depths of what society would call hell into the most amazing, abundant life you can imagine. And I don't mean like I've got money flowing out of my bank account. I'm comfortable. I'm good. It's coming. It's coming in different directions. I don't worry about it. This is a byproduct of what I'm doing. And I want you to be able to do the same. And it doesn't have to be financial. Find what you're great at by going back and rewriting your story, because anything is possible. And then tell yourself the new story for today. I am good enough. I am smart enough. I can do anything I want. My husband, my wife, they love me. I'm okay. I don't have to be insecure. I don't have to bring this stuff home. I can live in an honest space. And when you share that honesty, it is one of the most powerful frequencies on the planet in a vocal tone. It's the truth, and it will set you free. I implore you to try it today. I hope all this made sense as I tried to rattle this off in my own head. I genuinely love and appreciate you guys. Share this with your friends. Stop, like, subscribe. Give me some feedback. Even you haters, I ain't scared of you either. I understand if I said something that triggered you, and I'm still open to talk about it. You can share your hatred with me. We can have a conversation because I don't think you hate me. I think you hate something about yourself that you're seeing me do that you want to do. And I want you to do it too. But you can hate on me in the meantime. That's fine. I can't keep everybody happy. But I implore everybody to just try something new. Rewrite your story and tell yourself a new story and really believe that story. Somewhere deep inside of your heart, in your soul, is truth. And you got to stop being afraid of it because it wants out. Every time you are experiencing something and this anxiety comes in, that's your brain saying, hold on, we need to experience this properly. So watch the story that you tell yourself as that happens, because your brain is trying to learn, not trying to be punished. You don't need to relive it 37,000 times and make it true. You just need to be open to the possibility that other things are possible, that anything is possible. I am living this life. I hope the same for you. God bless, and I'll see you next week.